Hello and welcome to the Pontiac Silverdome for the 18th annual Prep Kickoff Classic. I'm Bill Hobson along with Jeff Hager, and as you can see, we are set to begin the first game of the day between the Bishop Gallagher Lancers and the Cyclones from Sarnia St. Christopher. Christopher taking the opening kickoff right over to the 20-yard line, where being hauled down is Trevor Richard, and believe it or not, we are underway. Bishop Gallagher in the two-tone blue uniforms and looking a little Oakland Raider-like. The St. Christopher Cyclones just getting underway. An exciting Labor Day weekend opener. You can see the new turf here at the Silverdome. I guess everything's new. It's a new season for both of these squads as well. And now 1st and 10, the team from Canada comes out to start things out.
Looks like they're lining up in a pro set with a slot back.
Their quarterback is Scott Pelko. He is a senior, and there are quite a few issues that we will take some time to address throughout the game. But this team from Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, is accustomed to playing under much different rules than they will encounter here in the States, and one of them has to do with illegal motion, although that particular flag that started off the game probably had more to do with jitters than anything else.
Well, indeed, but the situation exists where they can only have one man in motion and linemen have to be in a set position. That may have been what we saw there on the very first play. They just need to get used to the officials and the way they're going to call the game.
And that'll make it 1st down and 15. This time the wing T offense is set in motion together, everybody, and the handoff goes to the fullback up the middle. I believe that was Mike Raz, who plows his way for about 3, setting up 2nd down and long. Team from Sarnia, of course, used to playing with 12 men on the field, used to playing 3 downs and you're out, and used to playing on a field that's a good bit bigger than you'll see here in America. So they do have some adjustments to make, and they now face 2nd down and long as Pelko's under center. Roll left and throw right and overthrow. Andrea DeBrita, his intended receiver, the 5'9" junior, never really turned around to look for the ball. I think maybe he was thinking about a different pattern than the one that was thrown. Under
some pressure that time from Darnell Hood, the fine freshman for Bishop Gallagher. He came in on a cornerback blitz and put the pressure on, made Pelko throw maybe just a little bit sooner than he wanted to.
St. Christopher, coached by Dave Greenwood. We spoke with him before the game about some of the challenges this team faces, and one of them is their size. This is not a real deep team. I believe they have 23 players in uniform here today, so it will be an active morning at the Silverdome for everybody in the white jerseys. And now they're going to pull a little surprise, and on 3rd down, go with a quick kick to try and gain some field position. It is downed quickly by Dan Mayola on the other side of the 50, and if Mayola lets that one go, they may actually pick up a few more yards, but it turns out to be 3 and out for Sarnia, which brings Bishop Gallagher onto the field.
A little surprising that the quick kick now, obviously in a Canadian situation with long yardage, they may punt on 3rd down because that's the punting down, but in this particular case, they elect a quick kick and put Bishop Gallagher back in their own territory.
Well, here come the Lancers. They were 5-4 last year, and they have some familiar names on their team. Marcus Curry is number 6, and their quarterback is Steve Slokey. Slokey's going to roll to his right to start off the offensive series for Gallagher and overthrows Sam Martinisi.
Kind of what we expected coming out of the gate from Bishop Gallagher. They don't return a lot of experience on their offensive line, but their skill position players are very experienced, and they said they're going to try to get the ball in particular to number 6 Marcus Curry as much as possible today. But offensive line-wise, they return only 1 starter from last year's 5-14 team.
Curry's older brother Julius wearing the maize and blue over in Ann Arbor this year. And so Marcus, of course, has some big shoes to fill. Slokey is a senior. He's also one of the co-captains on this team. On 2nd down and 10, the handoff goes to Darnell Hood. The freshman running back almost breaks through, does pick up close to the 1st down before he's gang tackled by Mike Raz and a couple of teammates.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have it, Bill, just inside the St. Christopher 41-yard line, and that's exactly what we'll expect to see from Darnell Hood today. If he can get into the secondary, he can cause some serious problems very fast.
They say the freshman, and that he is a freshman, they say he's got quick feet and the ability to explode, and they're working with him now and trying to read his blocks a little more effectively. 1st down and 10. This time the fullback gets it. The fullback plows his way through.
Number 20, Tony Collins with the carry on that. Pickup of just about 6 yards.
Little size differential between these two squads. If you look at some of the weights, you don't even need to know the weights. Just look at those. Look at the line of scrimmage. You can see Sarnia St. Christopher definitely has some work cut out to maintain control at the line of scrimmage. Keep your eyes now on Marcus Curry at the bottom of your screen, one-on-one with Trevor Richard. 2nd and 5, and instead they go right back to the fullback, and this could be trouble. It's Tony Collins at the 10 and in. Tony Collins takes it in from 41 yards away.
Oh, they just busted it up the gut that time. Number 8, Aaron Kilbreth for St. Christopher, cheating over a little bit because they were obviously worried about Marcus Curry that time and the fact that he was lined up in single coverage out on the short side of the field here. But up the middle they busted, and carrying the ball, as you mentioned, Tony Collins for the touchdown. 2 carries, 41 yards, a 35-yard scamper for the score.
I did misspeak. He was 35 yards away when he ran that in. The extra point up and no good. A little wide to the right as it sails up into the Silverdome bleachers. Bishop Gallagher, though, strikes quickly and first, going up 6-0. And, Jeff, Sarnia is going to have to pick up a couple first downs because it looks as if the running game of Bishop Gallagher is looking pretty strong, as you'll see Tony Collins from 35 yards away. Watch this hole up the middle.
Yeah, there was only one safety man in the middle that time, and once he got by him, you can see the other safety coming over a little too late in order to try to get Collins before he's in the end zone. Fine run that time. Bishop Gallagher came out, throws on first down, and then runs on 3 consecutive plays, and I'd say their running game is pretty successful thus far with 4 brand new offensive linemen on the line.
If there's one thing that has to make head coach George Sahadi happy, it's that offensive line did make some room. Whenever you change all but one of your starters up front, you got to be a little bit nervous. And they certainly were. We also are joined today by our sideline reporter, Jack Runshie. He's been a coach for about 28 years in his fine career, and he'll be joining us throughout the afternoon. Perhaps we can check in with him in a couple of plays here. He'll bring us up to date a little bit more about the rules adjustments that Sarnia St. Christopher has to make. But first, we've got a kickoff coming up. Bishop Gallagher going to put another foot to it. Steve Slokey, a busy man. Quarterback, the captain, and he will also kick off.
He's their senior. They're putting a lot of trust in him, and so far he's delivered.
Low line drive bounces, is momentarily dropped, and now Sarnia is going to run a little misdirection. Ending up with the ball is Dan Mayola. Gallagher not fooled too much as the ball comes out to the 27.
8-yard return that time, Bill, and we saw a little bit of that fake. It looks like there's going to be a lot of misdirection from Sarnia St. Christopher. This is a team coached by Dave Greenwood. Now, when he came here 4 years ago for this game, he was coaching a team by the name of St. Patrick, and that team came in here on a 37-game winning streak. This situation a bit different, and we'll get into that as the broadcast goes on.
Pelko again, the quarterback. 1st down and 10. Sarnia started off their last possession with a motion penalty. This time they come off clean on 1st down, and Pelko's going to keep it himself across the 35. That's the wing T keeper. That's where the quarterback gets abused, but it's also the safest way to maintain possession, and a nice pickup on 1st down.
A pickup of about 8 on the play, and good option runner it appears that Pelko is just out of the gate, and nice pickup of 8 on 1st down. If they continue to do that, you can see a pretty high-scoring game here today.
2nd down, just a couple of yards to go in the backfield. It's Dan Mayola, Mike Raz. Mayola, number 22, lined up in kind of a slot look. Does not get the carry. Raz does, and he's wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. A swarm of blue jerseys led by number 32, Calvin House.
Yeah, Bowen came over from the slot back that time on some more misdirection. So they're trying to cross up Bishop Gallagher. It's not an offense you see a whole lot at the prep high school level. And so they're trying to cross them up a little bit. Bishop Gallagher not fooled that time, 3rd and short. And
these teams, by the way, have not exactly studied hours and hours of film on each other because they don't have any. So it's a feeling out process here in the early going. 6-0 Gallagher leads it 3rd down and a short yard to go. And that yard just got a little bit longer. Oh my, Scott Pelko tries to keep it. Steve Slokey says you can keep it, but you're going to back up, big fella.
Yeah, his opposing number on the other side, Slokey, is Johnny on the spot on that play. It just fired right through the line, and there was nowhere for Pelko to go. He loses 3 on the play and forced a punt to St. Christopher.
Had a good drive going, and it just stalled out thanks to a play by the captain, Slokey, who's been all over the field today for Gallagher. Nice punt by Sarnia is going to be taken by Lawrence Clark. Little juking and stepping at the 30, puts his head down over the 35 to the 36-yard line, where Gallagher will go on offense first and 10 in this 18th annual Prep Kickoff Classic at the Pontiac Silverdome.
Clark that time returning the ball about 8 yards on the play. A couple of nice moves in there as he tried to break it up, but St. Christopher had this short side of the field covered pretty well.
35-yard gallop by Tony Collins, the lone touchdown in the contest to this point. 7:46 to go in the opening quarter.
BG will start out on their own 35.
And straight back to throw goes Slokey. Got some pressure, so he ends up throwing off his back foot. Not a bad throw. Safely goes out of bounds as he's deposited by Dante Voza. And a flag is thrown for offensive holding. Somebody trying to save the life of their quarterback.
Yeah, in the area of holding that time, St. Christopher with a nice rush coming up the middle and really forced Slokey to throw before he wanted to. That ball was probably overthrown by about 10 yards. No chance for Jeff Mazering to pull that in. But nice job that time by the St. Christopher defense to force the play. And it looks like they could be taking some time to figure this out, trying to decide exactly what Coach Dave Greenwood wants to do.
Well, if you look at the Sarnia sideline right now, we talked about how their numbers of players are down. The offensive unit is in a huddle back to the right area of their bench. The sideline is vacant. I mean, it's vacant.
I think they're dressing 24 players is what we were told, and they're using every single one of them here today. Rebuilding a program, though, that, like you said, was non-existent in the past, and so they're doing a good job so far here against Bishop Gallagher as they've backed them up inside their own 20.
First down and a very long way to go. Slokey going to go with the man that brought him to the house a couple of minutes ago. That's Tony Collins, who is tripped up just over the line of scrimmage, now second and long.
Yeah, that was a costly penalty for Bishop Gallagher. They lose a total of 18 yards on that play, and it forces them back, as I said, inside their own 20. So now they're looking at second and still quite a ways to go.
Leading the charge out of that huddle, another one of their co-captains, the center, senior Scott Cook. The co-captains all decided on and voted on by the players of Bishop Gallagher. Second down and a mile. Handoff again. This time they do get it into the hands of Darnell Hood, and he only runs out of room because the sideline got in the way. He is a nifty runner, to say the very least. Chased out of bounds by Dara Emsley.
He doesn't look too much like a freshman, I can tell you that, Bill. Just an exceptional run thus far, both of them that we've seen from him. As I think we're going to take a look and watch him get to the outside here, and as you say, they were pushing the play to the sideline that time, and that may have been the only thing that kept him from going all the way for a touchdown.
You are right. We have an injury timeout on the field. I wonder if this would be a good time to check in with our sideline reporter, Jack Ranchi. He can bring us up to speed a little bit about what's. Okay, we don't have Jack just yet, but we are taking a look at one of the guys. There's actually two players down. On the sideline for Bishop Gallagher, it's Tony Collins. At midfield on the far side of the field, one of the Sarnia players, the St. Christopher players, struggling as well.
Looks like 58, Andrew Avellino, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to get a better look at it as soon as I check that. I think it's 48.
And with Tony Collins, it would appear as if they're working on some early morning cramps. It's a little bit early to play football. You never know. But they're working on some ankle tape there and all that good stuff. 6-0 our score. Bishop Gallagher in the lead thanks to a 35-yard Tony Collins scamper.
Run down and tap.
You can see him putting the scissors right now on Collins's ankle tape, and maybe he's going to get a fresh tape job. You never know.
Quick look because of Collins's 35-yard run, 67 yards already on the ground for Bishop Gallagher, and I'm sure that's going to make Coach George Sahidi happy, especially like we said with a new offensive line basically out on the field. You want to get the running game going as soon as you can. Obviously, that's going to make it easier both today and in the future to pass to a certain Marcus Curry, somebody that they want to get the ball to.
All right, well, let's take it down to the sidelines for our first visit with our friend on the sidelines, Mr. Jack Ranchi. He has been for 28 years. He's been a coach, and he knows some of the differences between the Canadian and the USA game. We'll check in with Jack.
Gentlemen, as we have this injury break right here, one of the biggest problems that the Cyclone offense and Scott Pelko, the quarterback, faced today, other than the various other rule adjustments that you said earlier, is the difference in the width of the field. In Canadian football, the field is 75 yards wide, which usually plays a big role in the passing game. Normally, your quarterback has to be more mobile and have a strong arm. That could be some effect, as a lot of out routes are based on timing situations. Hopefully, they won't get too far down here and then get in a situation where they have to throw. So far, they've used their unbalanced line and utilized the short side of the field, so we'll see what types of adjustments they make as the game goes on. I wonder too, as I throw it back to you, if you two guys know that the Canadian Football League was actually formed before the National Football League. Now, Bill and Jeff, back up to you.
Thank you very much, Jack. While he was giving us that background look, a flag hits the field, courtesy of, I believe, pass interference against St. Christopher, which from a 3rd down and long gives Bishop Gallagher an automatic first down. That's a big penalty.
Yeah, that really hurts because I don't think Slokey was going to connect on the pass with Lawrence Clark that time. The defensive back got to him, gave him a little shove, enough of a shove that the referee pulled out the yellow hanky and tossed it down. And again, that's a very harmful penalty because it gives your team not only 15 yards, sets them back, but also gives the other team a first down.
Marcus Curry at the top of the screen. 1st down and 10 now for the Lancers. At midfield, handoff goes to the freshman tailback Darnell Hood, and he is tackled right at the line of scrimmage. Somebody got a big paw on him. I believe Matt Milo, the nose guard, 5'9", 230-pound senior, reaches out and applies the long arm of the law.
Yeah, they kept him pretty contained that time, kept him in the center of the field, and I think that's going to be the key for St. Christopher, is to try to keep him so that their defense can gang tackle Hood, because it appears if he gets out one-on-one, very dangerous runner for a 14-year-old.
Eric Damfee, by the way, in the game at fullback now for Gallagher due to the injury to Collins. 2nd down and 8. Oh, some more running room. Oh, what a great spin move by Darnell Hood as he cuts it back between the hash marks. And Aaron Kilbreth saves a touchdown as the jitterbug does his thing.
20-yard pickup that time for Hood, and as I said,
he's quick.
If he gets through that line, I mean, it's going to be very important for St. Christopher to get through their blocks and hold up the line as quickly as they can and try to force Hood back into the middle where their linebackers can help out, because you can see as soon as Hood gets 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, there's a lot of real estate out there for him to run on.
Under 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter. I don't believe Marcus Curry has touched the ball yet for Gallagher, but they've been moving the ball nonetheless. Handoff again to the freshman, puts his head down inside the 30, almost to the 25-yard line before he runs into Marcelo Salinas. Excuse me, that was actually George Economou.
Nice drive going for Bishop Gallagher right now. 6 plays so far. They started at their own 35 and were backed up to their own 17 at one point.
Well, those pass interference penalties will help keep a drive alive. And as Dave Greenwood continues to develop this St. Christopher team, you know that that's one of the things he'll point out to his team. Penalties can be a killer. Look out from behind. Slokey in trouble. Gets away from 2 defenders and then heads towards the sidelines and is run out of bounds. Oh, my goodness. He had 2 Cyclones breathing down his neck. Marcelo Salinas, along with Pierre Plant, ran into each other, basically. Had a good shot at Slokey, and he was evasive.
Yeah, that time, just you can tell a senior quarterback with some experience. I mean, just good decision making on his part. The blitz is coming. He's got 2 men bearing down on his back. Rolls out to the sideline, directs a block for his offensive lineman or one of his receivers to help out. Gets the first down. That's the key.
They didn't miss him by much, but they did miss him. Another first down for Gallagher. Slokey this time gives to Damfee, and Damfee's got some room to the house. He takes it. Another touchdown for Gallagher. That was a truck-sized hole on the left side of the offensive line. Eric Damfee takes it in from 18 yards out.
Just a fine run that time by Damfee. Again, good blocking, and they really seem to be crossing up St. Christopher as far as their play calling, and they're showing a lot of versatility. This is at least the 4th different back that's carried the ball at this point, so that's good news when you've got that kind of depth on a team, a Class D team.
Looks like Gallagher's going to have to burn a timeout before the extra point attempt. They're most likely going to go for 2 since the first kick was no good, but I don't believe all the right personnel has made their way onto the field. So Coach George Sahadi will burn his first time out of the first half. And while we have a second during the timeout, let's go down with Jack Runshie and find out about the earlier injuries that we had to delay.
Just a quick injury report. Fullback and linebacker for Gallagher, Tony Collins, a junior, injured an ankle, which he had some problems with earlier. Trainer Marcy Dyer taped him up, and he'll be back into the lineup. But hey, Bill and Jeff, his replacement, Eric Damphey, sure did a nice job on that touchdown run, no did he? But look for Collins to be back in the game real soon.
And Jeff, if there's one of these two teams that cannot afford to have many injuries, it would be the team on the far sidelines from Sarnia, because their numbers are depleted to begin with. So hopefully everybody will do okay. But you can see on the bench on the far side that the injury does not look as if it's going to go away anytime soon. 2-point conversion attempt for Gallagher. Slokey again rolling to his right under heavy pressure. He is drilled, and the pass is dropped. Oh, Slokey got hit hard by Dante Voza back at the 15, and Slokey is slow getting up.
Slokey got drilled, and so did Marcus Curry, too, on that play.
Slokey's got to go kick off here pretty quick. He better shake all the cobwebs out. Meanwhile, when Tony Collins goes down with an injury, Gallagher goes to the bench for Eric Damphey, and he takes it to the house with a hole on the left side of the offensive line that was big enough for me to at least get a yard through. Maybe nothing more, but at least a yard.
109 yards so far on the ground for Bishop Gallagher. They haven't had to throw the ball. Slokey's 0 for 2 in the passing department, but they've really come out and shown that they're not afraid to run the football and not afraid to spread it out a little bit thus far, as they've had 4 players run the ball, but thus far actually 117 yards on the ground.
Dara Emsley, is the injured Sarnia player, still being tended to on the far sidelines. And from here I can't really speculate on what they're working on now, but he does not appear to be ready to come back into the game. So the numbers are a little depleted for the Cyclones. They trail at 12-0 right now.
Good defensive play, though, to try to keep it, and it was actually a very good athletic play by Marcus Curry. We could see why they're so excited about him, because he went up in the air to get that ball and was willing to pay the price for it, and did pay the price. They did not convert the 2-pointer.
Another low kickoff from Slokey, this time taken by Scott Pelko. Best starting field position thus far for Sarnia St. Christopher at the 37-yard line. And coming back onto the field for the first time since his injury, Tony Collins going to play a little defense at linebacker, testing out that ankle tape as he runs his way into the defensive huddle. 4:46 to go here in the opening quarter. Bill Hobson and Jeff Hager with you at the Pontiac Silverdome for the 18th annual Prep Kickoff Classic, the first of 4 games to take place on this Labor Day weekend. Pelko back to throw.
Got a man wide open.
Oh, does he hit him? Just a bit too far for Andrea DeBita. Oh, he knows it too. He was open by 10 yards. Somebody in the Lancers uniform maybe blew an assignment, because there was nobody going to catch DeBita.
Nice play call that time. They have not done any passes like that to date, so it may have caught the Lancers by surprise, but you're right. DeBita didn't have anybody within 10 yards of him, and just overthrown. He tried to run under it and just couldn't get there.
I've seen the wing tee offense at the college level quite a bit, and the key to it is you run, suck the defense up, and then go for a deep ball and hope you hit it. That was the deep ball, but they did not quite connect. And again, Pelko overthrows his receiver, and again it's DeBria.
It just seems to be he's overextending himself a little bit. Maybe he thinks he's got more room based on the Canadian field than what he actually has.
That's a very accurate statement. I mean, they are normally playing with 10 more yards on the sidelines and 20 more yards in the length of the field.
How did Dave Greenwood characterize this field as a postage stamp?
Yeah. He said, my guys have to remember to stop running out of bounds. And that is one of the things that it would be a major adjustment. Doesn't sound like it, but I guarantee you it is. They're out of field before they think they should be. 3rd down and 10. Option play, lots of running room, and there it went. Temporarily, there was some running room for Dan Mayola, and then Tony Collins tested out that ankle, caught up to him, and stopped the play.
Boy, nice job of pursuit by the Bishop Gallagher defense that time. I mean, I counted 5 blue shirts on the ground, just making that tackle, and at least 2 others nearby. I mean, just excellent pursuit that time.
Check out all the room and then where it goes.
It just shut down very quickly, and they did exactly what you're supposed to do with the option. Try to contain it to the outside if you've got the men moving that way. If you can't bring it in, take it all the way to the sideline.
Got some personnel troubles for St. Christopher right now. Trying to decide whether or not he belonged on the field was Marco Voza, and the Cyclones will burn a timeout, try and sort things out before they punt it away to Gallagher with just under 4 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. It's 12-0 in favor of Bishop Gallagher.
Well, so far St. Christopher has gone 3 and out in all, actually 2 and out in their first series, 3 and out in their next 2, and haven't gained a whole lot of yards. -2 on the first drive, 6 on the second, and 3 on the third. So they're going to have to do something offensively pretty soon to try to shore that up a little bit. I mean, they're going to have to get in the end zone against Bishop Gallagher, who scored on their first 2 possessions thus far.
Has been a punting kind of a day thus far for the Cyclones. Andrea DeBrita will do it again here momentarily. Back to receive the kick. Marcus Curry goes along with Lawrence Clark. Quiet first quarter for Marcus Curry. Feels like summer, but we are watching football.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. We like that. Snaps a little bit high, but pulled down and bang to Curry. I think he's going to take it. No, I don't think they know who's going to take it yet. It is instead Lawrence Clark, and this was a miscommunication all the way as Curry and Clark got their signals crossed, ended up with a minimal return.
Yeah, about a 5-yarder when it was all said and done. As that time Clark and Curry bumped into each other. Very careful in those situations that you don't end up turning the ball over. That would have been a big break for St. Christopher. Pretty good punt by the Cyclones to bury the Lancers deep, but now defensively they're really going to have to step up here, turn it up a notch, and try to contain this running game.
I don't believe we've seen a completed pass in the contest. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
That is correct, sir.
0 for 6.
My short term is still there somewhat. But the middle of that offensive line has been making some serious room. The real estate has been cleared. There's a motion penalty. They've got to flag it. Coming up out of his stance a little bit early, Joe Curry. Moving back to be 1st and 15.
A lot of motion on the St. Christopher side of the field. Of course, they're able to do that, reset their defense and make those adjustments. And that time just getting a little bit quick as far as wanting to get in there and do some hitting.
You know, a week from now, this St. Christopher team is supposed to play again here in the States. But there's some labor issues in Canada that have to be addressed. As we spoke with Dave Greenwood before the contest, he is not certain whether or not at this time next week he'll be allowed to coach his team. A most unusual position to be in, that's for sure, especially for somebody trying to rebuild a program. First and 10, little handoff to Darnell Hood. Darnell gets deposited at the 29.
Good hit that time by number 22. That was Dan Mayola, linebacker, and he almost popped the ball out on Darnell Hood. Hood did a good job holding on that time, just a short gain. Nevertheless, he's up to 6 carries for 50 yards. Not too bad for a 9th grader.
It's Collins and Hood now behind Slokey. As the defense shifts over, expecting a run to the left side. They don't get it. They get a fake to the left, and now Slokey's in trouble, and he goes down. Well, he's been under pressure today, and that's the first time they've actually gotten to him. He will perhaps tonight when he sleeps be seeing visions of Dante Voza, number 81, coming at him because they have been frequently in the same neighborhood in this first quarter.
Loss of a big 11 yards on that play.
I mean, take a look at Voza. I mean, obviously the blitz is coming from St. Christopher, but Voza has had a bead on Slokey today, and that sets up now 3rd down and long. Good pass rush, and maybe St. Christopher's going to have to create a turnover here on defense to give themselves a chance to put some points up.
Their end play's been great today. It's just they've been hurt up the middle.
Yeah. Now the deep shotgun and perhaps a pooch punt. Yes, it is, in fact, by Slokey, as he took 2 or 3 steps back further than we thought he was going to. There's got to be a flag on this because I thought the St. Christopher receiver signaled for a fair catch.
He wasn't allowed to make it because it looked like the Bishop Gallagher player jumped right into the play and put his hand on the ball.
Well, there are no yellow markers down, so...
And I think they're going to move it back to the original mark where the ball was touched around the 40-yard line.
I think Curry actually caught that thing. Let's see if we see a fair catch signal made. And if not, wherever Curry touched it, that's kind of where it takes place.
Yeah, nevertheless, if you're St. Christopher, stay away from that ball once you see the guy bearing down on it. I mean, just because he touches the ball, that should make it a dead ball, but nevertheless, you're never sure if he catches it, touches it or not.
The second third down punt we've seen. I don't know if that was a real valid fair catch signal, but it was touched, and the ball spotted at the 40-yard line for St. Christopher. First down and 10. Again, their starting position pretty darn good. You can't complain if you're going to start at the 40-yard line. Scott Pelko back up under center. This time they send a man in motion, and he just got caught. He got caught in Canada. That works. But that play sent a couple of men in motion at the same time, and that's why it was blown dead. Canada, you can have like all sorts of motion going on. Actually, I think it's entertaining. And I'm wrong, just deadly wrong, because it's offsides against Bishop Gallagher. I thought they were flagging the man in motion. My apologies. The play was timed perfectly.
Well, after two drives that resulted in touchdowns, that last drive for Bishop Gallagher, just 2 plays and a total loss of 15 yards net on that drive. So St. Christopher now with an opportunity to make something happen.
Good thing I'm not an official. First down and 5. Handoff is faked. And now Pelko looking for somebody to throw it to. May end up keeping it himself. No, lobs downfield for the big man. Tries to hit the tight end, Nick Hubert. Just overthrown.
Boy, Nick Hubert's got to be one of the bigger players out here today, going 6'5" and 240. And that was a pretty gutsy pass by Pelko that time. You can see the confidence that he has in his arm. Again, just slightly overthrown for St. Christopher. That time he's rolling out, directing traffic, telling Hubert, get down there, I'm going to throw it to you. Nice lob, but just, again, a bit overthrown. And credit to the defense that time. Lawrence Clark was closing fast, so it wouldn't have been a touchdown had it come down, but nevertheless, nice job that time by Hubert.
Get the feeling that was a busted play because after the play-action fake, Pelko had nobody to throw the ball to. I think somebody may have busted a route. Second down now and 5. Handoff goes up the middle, and the surge will move the chains in favor of St. Christopher as we head to the sidelines and check in with Jack Munchie.
Guys, with Tumunga Biakapatuka and Tony Mandarich enjoying some success in American football in college and now in the NFL, I'm sure the big tight end, the junior, 6'5", 240 pounds, Nick Hubert, might draw some attention from American scouts. He could be a player to watch today for the Cyclones. Back to you guys now.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. We have about 95 seconds to go here in the opening quarter, and for St. Christopher, one of the few first downs they've picked up. They may have something going here as they trail it 12-0. Pitch out goes, and the pitch out is on the carpet. Just after we said it out loud, the ball hits the carpet. Scott Bowen does jump on top of it, but that's kind of been the pattern in this first quarter, Jeff, is St. Christopher will get something going and then kind of shoot themselves in the foot. That one will back it up quite a bit as well, as the pitch out just never was handled.
Yeah, quick fake that time, and it looked like Bowen was looking up at the defender instead of looking at the football as it was coming in.
Footsteps.
And unfortunately for him, or perhaps fortunately, actually, he got back and covered that ball. So they're back to their original line of scrimmage at the 40-yard line with a whole lot of real estate to make up.
Second down and about 21 yards to go as we're nearing the end of the first quarter. Pelko rolls to the right. Going to have a hard time getting this one away, and he is dragged down at the 31-yard line by Harry Brown. Pelko hanging on to it perhaps a bit too long as Brown closes in and grabs him down.
Well, again, the Bishop Gallagher defense is just doing a fine job in forcing the play to the sidelines and forcing Pelko to make decisions, quite frankly, he just doesn't want to make. I mean, he seems to be a good rollout quarterback, but it's very difficult, especially for a right-handed quarterback, to be rolling to his right all the time. They're doing a good job defensively.
I'm sure his coach will tell him, Scott, get rid of the ball. You got to get rid of it. Because that was another big sack. We go from 2nd and 21 to 3rd down and 30. Now Bishop Gallagher basically going to drop back into a prevent kind of a defense and count on getting the ball back.
Yeah, this is what started out looking like a pretty good drive. St. Christopher's really going to have to make something happen here.
Well, they headed to midfield. A little misdirection here goes to Scott Bowen right side. He picks up a couple, and it will be time for the special teams units to check in.
Boy, credit Lawrence Clark that time, though, for just shooting the gap, because I'll tell you what, it looked like Bowen was going to make something happen up the right sideline, and Clark just got in there, fired low, and made sure he made the tackle, and it'll be 4th down now for St. Christopher.
Boy, if there's one thing that I've noticed here about this Lancer team is that they're very quick to close on the ball. I mean, they have some decent team speed, but they swarm so effectively as we get down to the last play of the first quarter, and it will be a nice booming punt from Scott Pelko. From Andrea DeBrita. It's taken by Curry at the 45, cuts back to midfield and brings it back into Cyclone territory where the second quarter will begin with a 12-0 lead in favor of Bishop Gallagher. They put those points up on a 35-yard Tony Collins run and an 18-yard run by Eric Damfee.
18-yard return that time by Curry, and that puts them right back in St. Christopher territory at the Cyclones' 49-yard line. So, again, good field position for Bishop Gallagher. They've only had, I think, everything they've gotten the ball today. They had one possession where they started at their own 20, then they've started at their own 29. Or I'm sorry, they started at their own 49, their own 35, and their own 33-yard line. So when you're getting that kind of field position consistently and you're not backed up against your own goal line, you can make things happen offensively and maybe take a few more chances you wouldn't otherwise take.
Teams will switch directions here on the brand new turf here at the Silverdome. Looks kind of bright and shiny, don't you think? You think Barry can run on this?
I think Barry can run wherever he wants.
He can run on water. I think he can run on water if he wants to.
They start things tomorrow. You mentioned Michigan and the young Mr. Curry's older brother now, Julius Curry, that's a part of that Michigan football team as they head down to the Golden Dome in South Bend, take on the Fighting Irish.
When we resume action, it'll be 1st down and 10 for Bishop Gallagher as they start with actually their best starting field position of the day in Cyclone territory. Bill Hobson and Jeff Hager with you as we get set to begin the second quarter of play, the 18th annual Prep Kickoff Classic. Slokey out of the eye. Going to take a 2-step drop and fire it out to Curry, who wanted to break that tackle, but Trevor Richard with the Indiana Jones tackle, the kind where you hang on for dear life and hope the truck doesn't run you over, brought him down. Nice open field tackle, or that could have turned into something big.
First completion of the day, as we'll see here, just a quick 2-step drop, as you mentioned, and Curry turn and look play, and like you said, had he gotten to the outside or been able to maybe juke that guy out, he would have gone in for 6, I think.
First completed pass of the contest for either team. Sets up 2nd down and 2. They go to the same pattern again, different receiver, Lawrence Clark. Inside, right about to the 30-yard line before he's hauled out of bounds by DeBrita. Not a bad idea. Coach George Sahadi says, you know what, my quarterback's overthrowing a lot of receivers when he steps a five-step drop. Let's just get him to quick hit. Little pass out in the flat, let the receivers do the work and get him some confidence. And this is a pretty accurate pass, right on the money.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. In the first game in particular, confidence is just so important. And if you can get the rhythm going, get your team moving down the field, as Bishop Gallagher is right now, that's good news for Slokey.
Receiver Jeff Mazering in the ball game, but the handoff goes back to the freshman Darnell Hood, fighting his way to about the 26-yard line before being brought down by Mike Raz.
Pick up a 4 on the play that time. Hood may have made more out of it, ran into his own offensive lineman, Harry Brown, and that is just, you're dealing with a first-year running back and your offensive line that's just learning how to play at the varsity level. They'll get that communication down as the season progresses. Still a 4-yard gain.
As they see it replayed over and over again in a film session, they'll get it down. They'll be seeing it in their sleep like a bad movie. 2nd down at about 6. Going to go to the end zone this time. Slokey
lays it out there for him.
That pass is picked off, but I can guarantee you defensive pass interference will be called. It's unfortunate because DeBrita really had good coverage, but he pushed off at the last minute to take that ball away.
And created some space for himself, and there was no doubt 2 flags came flying in. That time floating it up there was Slokey.
Lawrence Clark, the intended receiver, had to wait for it, and when that happens, the defense will close.
It will close, but unfortunately closed a little bit too fast. Now they're going to...
Yeah, watch the very end of this, and you'll see DeBrita gets a little excited, almost like a punt coming at him, and just kind of knocks down the receiver.
Somewhat incidental contact, but nevertheless, he did reach out with that left arm and give him a quick shove, and that's all the referee needs to see on that play.
It's incidental if you're on defense. It's intentional if you're on offense.
That's right.
Either way, it's a 15-yarder, and it's first down now and 10
I'm sure that's
12.
what he'll tell the coach when he goes back to the sideline.
Coach, that was incidental. Second 15-yard pass interference penalty we've seen called today against St. Christopher. End zone pass incomplete, intended for Curry. Again, getting pressure from the backside. Applied by Dante Vazas. Loki heard the rumble and had to get rid of it.
Boy, he looks a lot bigger than 6 foot 180, as they have him listed here in the program. Just good pressure that time. Made Slokey throw it perhaps a little bit sooner than what he wanted to, but he had his man open, really.
He does look bigger than that. You're
he
right.
He certainly does.
And he's pretty quick.
And but looking at Curry that time, he did have his man open in the corner of the end zone, just overthrew him a bit.
Gallagher had been visiting the air game here in the last couple of minutes. Much more than they were in the first quarter. Misdirection play, and that's misdirected backwards. As Slokey was thinking about a pitch out, Marco Voza was thinking about dragging him down, and he did so at the 20.
Loss of 5 on that play, Bill, and it just looks like from the start, that particular play, somebody missed an assignment. But that's all right. That's the first game of the year, and that's what these are for. You constantly hear it. It sounds almost cliche anymore, but there's so much improvement for teams between their first game and their second game. Just simply, when you look at it, again, just a quick, it was supposed to be Hood, I think, going the other way, and the flow was supposed to come back to the left, and things just got a little bit crossed up.
St. Christopher backed themselves up on their previous possession. Gallagher has been doing that. However, they have a little guy in the backfield named Tony Collins with a cutback at the 5, and he takes it in. Oh, that was a great run.
Excellent run. Boy, you're going to score a lot of touchdowns when you have moves like Tony Collins today. His second touchdown from 18 yards out, and just an exceptional run.
Check out this cutback that he makes at about the 10. Everybody in the house thinks he's done, and I'm just going to take her back inside. Thank you very much.
Well, it was a nice move from the standpoint is that he knew he wasn't close to the first down marker. He still had some yardage to go. So rather than on third down, put it down and force your team to come in and kick a field goal, he tried to pick up a few extra yards and ended up picking up the touchdown as a result.
And another rushing touchdown, the third one of the game here for Gallagher. Kick is up for the extra point, and this one is good. This will make our score 19-0.
The 9:35 mark of the second quarter, as you see Bishop Gallagher now in complete command of this game, 19-0. That drive began at the St. Christopher 49, and they overcame the penalty, got help from another pass interference penalty. And when you look at the Cyclones, I'm sure when they're going to look at this tape, they're going to say, hey guys, a couple of key penalties really hurt us today. In the first quarter in the early going. And you hate to get down in the first game of the year, down by 19 points midway through the second quarter.
2 of the 3 Gallagher touchdowns have come from drives that were kept alive by pass interference penalties, and that's just one of the things that Dave Greenwood, and he was a great guy. We talked to him before the contest. Great guy. He knows he's got a big challenge ahead of him, and that's just one of the things, is that pass coverage. That's not easy to teach, because in practice, it's a little easier than it is in live fire conditions at the Pontiac Silverdome, where you get little butterflies, you want to grab that ball, you forget about some of the fine points that you got of coverage. And they've been burned twice by it, and both of them have been turned into touchdowns. It's now 19-0 as Slokey puts a foot to it.
Fourth kickoff of the day for Gallagher, and this one's going to go into the end zone, come back out on a touchback. So that time Slokey, who had been kind of squibbing him up there, got a little bit of air underneath it, and it carried all the way into the end zone. And again, it's been a rough day, more rough for the Cyclones today in terms of field position. This is the second time they've started on their own 20. They have yet to have the ball in Bishop Gallagher territory except for one play. And on that play, they ended up losing 10 and back into their own territory.
Quarterback Scott Pelko back up under center. Going to drop back, throw left side, and has one dropped on him. Scott Bowen had it and just could not hold on to the handle. And you have to remember that at this point, maybe some of the guys are thinking to themselves, man, we were hoping it wouldn't be quite like this to start out. And you could see a little loss of the bounce in the step in that St. Christopher huddle. It's too early for that. They've got all kinds of time to come back. They just need to mount a solid offensive possession. Second down and 10. Pelko still looking for his first completion. Handoff goes to the right side this time, and there's some running room. Nice job of cutting through the line by Scott Bowen. Biggest single pickup of the day for the Cyclones, and that'll move the chains.
Pickup of 21 to be exact, and that time Bowen looked like if he could have gotten to the outside, he might have made something happen. Pretty fine run, though, and again, the misdirection, if nothing else, seems to be giving Bishop Gallagher just a little bit of traffic problems at the line of scrimmage. You'll watch this time, they watch the flow going to the left, and Bowen makes a nice cutback move there. And again, if he could have maybe cut to the outside, a great close again by the Bishop Gallagher defense to bring him down.
The cornerback was up at the line of scrimmage looking for the ball like I was, and all of a sudden it went by him. Now here's a keeper by Pelko. And 2 plays back-to-back, moving into Lancer territory. First down at the 41, actually at the 40.
Oh, a 21-yard gain followed by a 19-yard gain, and suddenly St. Christopher starting to make things happen on the ground, and that will help out their air game. There's no doubt about that, as we have a timeout called on the field.
Well, the wing T offense is designed to confuse and frustrate the defense. It's not necessarily a big play offense, but if you can keep your opponent guessing as to who has the ball, when, and where, that's the key to the wing T. You can take a look at some of the confusion. Now all the defensive players are keying on the running backs, and all of a sudden, there goes the quarterback. Pelko runs right by you.
Well, in order to run this offense, too, you have to have an athletic quarterback. I mean, somebody that can make quick decisions as far as the options, and also you got to be solid at handing the ball off, because there's so much misdirection and the players pass by so closely that if you get that ball out there too far, it can cause. You can see a lot of turnovers with this offense, too. So Pelko certainly looks to be experienced at running the wing T, and he's doing a fine job, I think, thus far in just trying to create enough confusion to keep Bishop Gallagher guessing, and certainly that is the case thus far.
Looks like Lawrence Clark. Well, perhaps that's Eric Damfee getting some attention.
Maybe one of those early season cramps, it appears.
It's a little early in the day for these guys to, get. I mean, they're missing cartoons.
I'm getting cramps already, so
right, Right. I stretched. See, I told you got to stretch before you start. First and 10 at the 40. Cyclones trying to get something going on offense. This time they pick up about 5. Dan Mayola dives to the 35.
Mayola did a nice thing that time, is that he waited for his blocker to create something to happen. And perhaps that was something that we saw early on with St. Christopher, is that because there's so much movement in the backfield and you have to wait for your line to clear you a spot, if you get there any sooner, that enables maybe Bishop Gallagher to make some things happen. In that particular case there, you saw him wait for the block and cleared out 5 yards, second down.
Last time the Cyclones got going, I said it out loud, so I'm not going to do it to him this time. Look at that lineup is so deceiving when the formation at the line of scrimmage. That time on the left side had 4 guys in a diagonal line leading right back to the backfield. Any of the 4 could have taken the ball. They give it to Bowen, and he is a couple yards short of the first down. It's hard to keep track of who has the pigskin with the wing T.
And Bowen already now back up to 5 carries for 14 yards. He was at -9 at one point, so a nice recovery.
Coach David Greenwood trying to get this program back on its feet. It's not an easy offense to teach either. Your team has to know all of those little deception twists as well. There's a pitch out with a little bit of running room to the right side for Mike Raz. Picks up the first down. Big Mike, 5'5", 165.
Picked up the first down, and it's substantially more, almost a gain of 10 on that play. We'll give him 9. But Raz did something that you don't always see a lot of young players do, and I'm not quite sure why, but got the arm out there and gave a little stiff arm to the defender. And you see a lot more fakes nowadays, but the stiff arm, it can be an effective tactic, especially if the defender's coming at you and you've got your momentum going forward. You can really give him a ride.
Injury timeout. Scott Bowen takes a knee back at the 32-yard line as the training staff comes out to see what's going on, and they may have actually burned a timeout on the St. Christopher sidelines. With 7:14 to go here in the first half.
Where's the water?
Okay, I think we're going to go back and look at what that particular last play. And again, if you watch the move right here, he's got the first down, but he almost got the first down. Actually, he didn't have it yet, and that stiff arm enabled him to get up there and pick up an extra 7 yards on the play. I mean, sometimes you can do that by bearing down, obviously, but also sometimes if you can just give the defender enough of a push, that knocks him off stride, and you get by it.
People forget. Everybody thinks Barry Sanders is simply an evasive magician. He's got a pretty effective stiff arm as well. I've seen him push guys down that you thought had him for sure. So it's kind of a lost art for the most part. First down and 10 now for the Cyclones. Handoff goes to the up man. He's got a little bit of running room inside the 15. That's Dan Mayola. And the ground attack has sprung to life for St. Christopher.
Well, you may have hit on it just a few moments ago, Bill, in the fact that it's difficult to teach this offense and difficult for players to learn. And when you're practicing, it seems a whole lot different than when you're actually out there executing it in a game against a defense that you've never seen before. It may take some while for adjustment. I mean, you have to hand it to them on this drive now as they cruise inside the Bishop Gallagher 15-yard line.
Closing in on the halfway mark of the second quarter. Mayola again. This time gets near the 10, I believe.
And enough for the first down, which is what he needed.
And my mistake, that was actually Scott Bowen with the carry.
So Bowen now up to 6 carries for 18 yards.
First down, and I'll tell you what, that's first and 10, but they got about 3 inches left after the first down marker. So effectively, it's first down and goal.
If they get it, it'll be the laces that'll be just outside the goal line.
Pitch out right side, and not much running room at all as Scott Cook leads the charge to stop the run as we go to the sideline and check in with Jack Runsheet.
With Julius Curry now matriculating at the University of Michigan and fighting for playing time in the defensive secondary and also on specialty teams, you can't be more impressed still, though, with the talent that Bishop Gallagher has and the great game that they've played so far today, even though the Cyclones are moving the ball. With freshman running back Darnell Hood and Marcus Curry, the younger brother of Julius, in the field, you certainly think that they're going to be make a big impact as they change that C-section in the Catholic League this year.
Thank you, Jack. Third down now and about 5 yards to go as big lumber laid out that time on Dan Mayola as he cut himself inside to about the 5-yard line. He felt the stick of a couple blue jerseys. And now a big play for St. Christopher.
Hey, you'd like to get the touchdown here, obviously. You don't want to come away empty, but you'd like to try to punch this in the end zone. It'll be interesting to see exactly what play they call. They've had good luck running on third down on this drive.
This has been a very effective ground attack in this possession.
Melvin, now get on the big guy now.
Pelko's going to roll out this time. We're going to go to the air after all that success on the ground.
He may be very close to a first down.
That was caught off the turf by Andrea DeBrita, and that was about a fingertip away from being picked off, and a fingertip, about a shoelace away from being in the end zone. That's going to be close to a first down, but they are going to mark it as fourth down. And Coach Greenwood, faced with a decision to go for it or not, he's going to burn a timeout to talk things over.
Absolutely. I mean, this one's inside the 1 at this point.
Check out how low DeBrita goes to grab this one off the carpet. After the success on the ground, I think he went for a little deception, decided to try the quick flare into the end zone.
Well, that's one of those plays, too, that you kind of hope your receiver gets into the end zone. As you'll look here, DeBrita breaks off the pattern just a little bit too soon and doesn't get across the goal line. You'd kind of like to see him get across the goal line on that play. And it was an excellent job that time by Sam Martin Easy to almost pick that play off. And I think he would have had a lot of room to run up that far sideline.
I think that would have been about 99.5 yards. Here's the whole play from the very start. I think actually the defender may have been Darnell Hood. Let's take a look right there. Had a chance to go after it. Nice catch, though. DeBrita goes down low for it. If you could get up and then run in high school football, he'd have been in the end zone. But you're down once your knees touch. So it's going to be fourth down and about the length of a football for a first down. Basically the length of a football and a ping pong ball for a touchdown.
I wonder if that's a rule you think should be changed, the knee down in high school football when there's no contact.
You know what? I'm going to say no, only because it will eliminate some of the spearing of guys who are sitting on the turf and haven't been touched. I think that's why it exists, so that they don't get the missiles coming at them when they're down on the ground on their own power. I think St. Christopher might move for that at this point. Now it's fourth down, and the jumbo lineups gearing up at the line of scrimmage. Oh, my goodness. I don't think anything moved.
If you look at the mark coming in, it's going to be very, very close.
That was nothing fancy. That was just straight piling up the gut, and they will unstack the bodies here. Getting up off the bottom of the defensive side is Tony Collins.
He got the ball very close. I think he's going to have a first down, Bill.
Who was the ball carrier? I'm still trying to see. They are going to have to measure this.
But I think he's got it. It looks like the nose of that football is, from our vantage point, is just touching the goal line. It's going to be real close.
You can hear the pad smacking all the way up here in the dome.
I think that was Dan Miola that carried the ball on the play.
Boy, from the camera shot that we have right now, it looks like the ball's sitting in the end zone.
First down.
Never thought it would happen. They said first and goal from the 10 and the 1 inch line. And check this out. This is just beef on beef. Here's your end zone looker coming right at you. Stacked up at the goal line and just enough for the first down.
Yeah, he got that. He got that surge forward just enough. And I mean, in that particular situation, the surge is, almost into the end zone.
The paint's dripping off from the ball into the end zone.
Well, now what do you call? You got four chances to ram it in.
Felco's just going to hand it and get it in, and there they go. Barely. Barely in. But the first touchdown of the game for St. Christopher is carried in by Mike Raz with 3:37 to go here in the first half.
Raz gets the touchdown from a yard out.
And he breaks the plane, not by a whole lot, but he does get it across the goal line and then gets driven back by a host of players from the Lancers.
All that has to happen is that ball crossed the goal line, and it did.
1 yard plunger. And now the extra point attempt. Currently 19-6 with 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. That was a pretty long drive. I don't know the exact time of possession stats, but St. Christopher's offense was on the field a good amount of time.
How about 5 minutes and 58 seconds, as a matter of fact, and they grounded out in 12 big plays to go 80 yards. So that's a big key, I think, for St. Christopher. Now defensively, they're going to want to come out and try to keep Bishop Gallagher out of the end zone, maybe get him 3 plays and out and have another chance to go down the field before the end of the half. But really, it's imperative that they come out here defensively and have a good stand.
I think they may be satisfied with just not giving up anything here in the last 3:37. Okay, and we will be back with the kickoff in just a second.